Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
A very warm welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me to another episode of Photo Chats with Nats. It is wonderful to be here. My name is Natalie Bukri and I'm a professional photographer based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I have something important to chat to you about. In today's episode, I want to talk about doing it for yourself. It is photography related, yes, and I want to tell you why I think it's important that you go and do photography for yourself, what I mean by that, and then I want to also look at the creative process and the feedback loop. So a lot of stuff that I want to touch on. But before I go any further, I want to, give a shout out to a creative that is doing it for herself. She's sitting here next to me in the thumbnail. It's Lisa McLeod. She's a jeweler here in Johannesburg, South Africa, and she creates jewelry, and she does that out of her own creativity. And she, for example, has embarked on a project a couple of years back where she created one piece of jewelry every day for 365 days. That is the poster that she's sitting in front of, and it was a project that she was prompted to do. And, so I thought that was really fitting to get our conversation started for today. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. You can precede them with a Q here in the live chat. And if you're watching this as a recording, you can always ask me questions, and I'm only too happy to answer them. So don't hold back. Put them in the comments. And if you have any questions here in this live broadcast, I will get to answering those questions at the end of my chat. So it's important to do it for yourself. It is a huge topic. It is stuff that people write books about. It should really be a conversation of a much longer format. But I decided that I wanted to, make it a conversation starter in my photo chats and talk about it today. So this is by no means, an all encompassing topic in this. It's simply just a start. It is supposed to get you thinking. It's supposed to, start another conversation. So this is only a little bit of a beginning that I want to touch on. And I, want to look at why it is so important. So creating photography for yourself is really important for your creativity. It's important that in this day and age where there's so much noise around us, we create the photographs that we want to create from within ourselves. So something that prompts us, that wants us to go out there and take photographs or create a project or work on something, a technique or something in particular that we feel we want to create. Not because it's something that's, the latest trend or something. So it's really important that we look at and listen to what comes from within ourselves. And this is maybe the beginning or, on the path of creating a personal style. A personal style is not something that is, starts with us buying our first camera, for example. No, not at all. It is a journey, and it's a journey maybe even without a destination. If we look at the art world, and the history in art, we look at artists who grow and work through different periods, as we used to call them, whatever, the blue period or the green period, where people created and they experimented with different techniques or colors or whatever it is. So this is all part of someone trying to find their style. And it is something that comes from, doing it over and over again. And eventually you'll get there. So it's really important that you do this photography for yourself so that you can find your personal style. It is also really important that you do stuff that interests you, that is photography that you want to create, not because someone else tells you to, not because, if you are a working photographer, you get a brief and you need to create something that is someone else's vision. No, because you want to create it. And if you have the drive to create a photograph, then you also, want to do it again and you want to experiment with it. And that way you will really, pick up your camera again and you will go out and you will make sure that you do this for a very long time. If you, on the other hand, create something because it's trendy or because you do it because you think someone else will like it, it is possible that you will run out of energy because it doesn't resonate with you. So it's really important that what you create really comes from something that you enjoy and you want to do so that you can do it over and over again and you don't tire to do it for a very long time. And at the same time, with that practice comes mastery. Practice makes perfect. The same year-old saying holds so much truth. And we know it. The more we do it, the better we get. And we can only do that if we enjoy the process. So it's really important that because of what it is that we want to create, we enjoy it and we do it more and more. And the more we do it, the better we get. Get my drift? At the same time, when we create something, we also work with feedback. So I want to have a look at two elements within this, big topic that I think, I want to draw your attention to because I think it's really important. So the first one is the actual creative process, is when we have an idea and we get prompted to create something all the way through to the created photograph, project, whatever it may be. On the other hand, or another element of it, is that feedback loop. So once we've created something, we are prone to get some feedback. Maybe this is the reason why we create in the first place. And I want to now have a look at how these two, impact on each other. And in order to do that, allow me to, dim the lights and draw you a diagram. An easy, simple one, but nonetheless, I think it will, explain that point a little bit better. So here we go. Lights out. Spot on. So bear with me. This is the first time that I'm doing that. So I've been practicing my writing these last couple of days. So let's see how we go. Okay, so the point is that you start out with a vision, right? We have something that is prompting us that we want to, put into real life, some vision, something that we're seeing maybe, or it is something from within. So whatever the prompt is, it prompts us to then go and actually create something, right? So after we've seen, the man walking on the street and he's really interesting, we want to take his photograph. So this is what we do. And we go out and we press the shutter in the simplistic way of explaining this process. And then we have the photograph, all right? And once we have this photograph, we now want to share it, right? Because we think it's a cool photograph and we want to share that. Maybe it's just with some friends, or we want to print it. Maybe it's part of a bigger project and it creates, a body of art and we want to put it in a gallery. Or we may want to share it on social media. So whatever that may be, the sharing is, a big part of the creative process. And with that sharing comes feedback. And this is what I want to draw your attention to. So this feedback, is, like I said, it's possible that it is something that, drives us to create something in the first place, or because we want to, enjoy something, we want to then hear what other people think of it, or we want to learn, or whatever the case may be. But the feedback is definitely a big part in this whole creative process. So, and as we know, this is nothing new. We will get positive feedback from some people, and this will influence our drive to creating, our creative need more, in doing more of it. The better, the more likes we get, the more we want to create. The more positive input we get, the more we want to create, on the one hand. But it is also possible that we get negative feedback, and that may influence our creativity in a bad way. And this is what I want to just point out a little bit more. So it's not only that positive feedback is the thing that we're trying to strive to, okay? We're not only creating because we want other people to like our stuff. This is exactly where part of the problem comes in. The same way we don't want to create things and then only run into criticism where people really don't like what we do. It's possible that this pushes us towards it, so we definitely need to listen to this feedback, but we need to sort where this is coming from. We need to understand why people are giving us this feedback, and take it on board, and then carry on with having learned from it. If we think there is some truth to the feedback, whether it's positive or negative, or whether there isn't truth to it, and we carry on doing our thing for ourselves. So it's really that feedback that is important and difficult all at the same time. What I want to guard you against is that because of feedback that you're getting, negative feedback that you're getting, that you don't do something. So here's a quote that I think is really hitting it, and that is that the greatest barrier of our success is the fear of failure. So we are so worried that someone may not like what we're doing that we don't do it to begin with. And that is a real pity, because we all have a voice, and we want to, create something, and we want to make ourselves heard. Imagine where art would be today if, allow me diving into the history of grandmasters of the art, if Van Gogh would have only created with the technique at the time that was acceptable, and hadn't started experimenting with, short brushstroke and completely breaking the norm at the time, and he would have listened to people, using impressionism as a swear word rather than anything else. Or if, at the time moving forward in the 1960s and 70s, a group of people wouldn't have started a movement creating art with color photography, and created the New American Color movement, and rebel against black and white photography, which was the standard for art in the day. How do you know what your camera would look like today if you have a Fujifilm camera and you have film simulations in there? Maybe the ratio of color versus black and white film simulations would be a different one. So you never know what comes from a prompt for yourself to create something. So you need to go and listen to that prompt, and you need to go and create for yourself because of something that you want to do and practice and master and get heard, because it is really important, and you never know where your journey takes you. If you enjoy this kind of a chat. And if you want to hear more about it, please let me know in the comments and, tell me so that, I can do more of it. Or maybe you're interested in having a more in-depth conversation about this topic. Then, also let me know. And I will, take it on board and see what I can do in one of my upcoming chats. You can also like and subscribe if you enjoyed this chat and this topic. It would really help me greatly in, growing this channel and moving forward. And if you subscribe, you can also, maybe share it with others who may also enjoy the stuff that I'm talking about here. In my next episode, I want to share with you how I use Instax prints to, grow my photography and make more with my photographs in my workflow. So I invite you to join me again next week for this chat. Thank you so much for sticking with me today. I know this was, a big topic, so I hope I wasn't able to maybe encourage you to now go out, pick up your camera, and go and create some images for yourself and work on that project or the technique that you've been unsure about. And I wish you a wonderful Friday and a super weekend, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. Until then, stay wonderful and create awesome photographs. Goodbye for now. See you next time.